Uh, I want to stop out here very quickly. And I do want to say this. I believe that a lot of our spiritual signs and a lot of our uh, confirmations are passed down through spirit, from spirit to animals. And I do feel it's because animals are pure with their energy. Regardless of what type of experiences animals have or experience, right? Their core energy is pure. And of course, we could break that down the line, spiritually, because of course there's books about animals and where animals come from and, all that good stuff. And I want to share that with y'all too. And it'll be soon. But in this energy, of course, that I woke up in, I honestly got a little emotional thinking about it, honey. And I said, you know what? I want to use this time to express my energy, but also uh just being it, okay? So I do want to say this, y'all. Yesterday, as a side note, they did deliver my things, so I will be, showing y'all that. And I don't know if I'm gonna show y'all, if I'm just gonna get on and then, I'll be on it. And y'all will see the little T. I got a little more adjustments to do, that I'll be either finishing today or tomorrow. Today I will be getting on because someone wants to get a reading done and they would love for me to do it online for you all to see. So later we will be doing that, okay? So that's a side note. I'm really excited. When I picked out, this vanity set, honey, I was like, this is beautiful. It was calling my name, but seeing it here in my place, I'm like, oh my God, okay. Like I'm excited. I slept good last night. Um, and today, like I said, I'm gonna do things. So back onto the topic of the video, right? Or what I want to speak about. Something I've learned about spirit, and I'm really gonna try to keep it short here, y'all. I try to remind myself that people's attention spans are not, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, so I try to keep things short. But of course, I just get in the moment and I start talking. But I feel like there's always, right, and we've been saying this for some time, and I would say probably about a good week or two. But intentional living, right? And I want to pull this up while we're here talking, right? Because of course, people, and a lot of times, y'all, I really do feel like, man, even those who pretend to be, you know, uh, representers of God or Christ, I feel like they go against God. And if you really had to get into it, and maybe that's what I'm going to look up first. It's really blasphemous, right? And of course, blasphemy is a act of expressing deep disrespect, contempt, irreverence towards God, religious deities, or sacred objects, or inviolable beliefs. It involves offensive language or behavior that mocks or insults religious doctrines, except including or examples include cursing God, desecrating holy objects, or taking the Lord's name in vain. And of course, I don't need to get into that. It's kind of self explanatory. So I think that a lot of people, and this is why I think a lot of humans suffer strife, is because the first attempt of blasphemy is onto yourself. And of course, that's pretending that you're a representation of God, like a disciple, but you don't really respect yourself. And respecting yourself is not what the world has programmed you to become. Because I always tell people that I really truly believe that the creator that created all things, because we all are guilty of this, um, they are not going to hold us accountable for the society or the civilization that we were programmed into being. It is our job, though. This is why you fast and pray, which is disconnect and be only focused on what it is that you want in this life to be as much as we can, so that we can live as purely as we can for ourselves. Because it's not about other people. Like, your life is your life, right? And so either way, I know that time, they say time is an illusion, but the Bible speaks about time. And so if time was an illusion and God doesn't have no time, and there was a time put on us by archons and all these other things, then of course, honestly, it will be a waste of time to even live, right? Life without time, and even if you cannot comprehend this, life without time wouldn't make sense, because you would have to be able to have a name, right? It said that everything has a name. Everything has a name. Everything has a title. Even when people say I don't like labels, I think that's demonic, right? And so I want to get into this, y'all, because, like I said, so much has come up, as you continue to change your life and, you know, change your life and truly, really focus, more things come up. And so, either way, y'all, intentional living is the deliberate, conscious practice of aligning daily actions, habits, and decisions with your core values and long term goals. And this also goes into never forgetting where you come from. I know some people say I didn't have a good life. I've been through a lot of things in my life. But the most important things is that you survived those experiences. So something allowed you to survive. Something within you allowed you to survive, allowed you to go through that and to be here right now to say, I was experiencing A to Z when I was younger. But like I said, you made it. And so with intentional living, when things get hard, and or when you're just living something called the facts of life, you use these core values to continue to move you through life. And even going back into like remembering your past and remembering the things you've been through. Because I tell y'all, this is what keeps me grounded. This is what keeps me sane. This is what keeps me stable, energetically, mentally, emotionally. Because of course, we all got something to lose in a way. We're all a decision away from, hitting rock bottom, and or doing something that can cause us to lose everything that we worked so hard to get. And so I think about, my ancestors, what they've been through, and it's even something else that I think about, right? When I hear people, especially Black people, because I have to say it the way I want to say it, the way I feel it, especially Black people. When the opportunity comes about, and it's always someone outside of self doing something to somebody. And when I say outside of self, that means the person don't look like you. Now it's my ancestors. Now it's you fucked with my ancestor. Now it's my ancestors were dragged. My ancestors was this. My ancestors was that. But when it comes to you, dealing with you, or even people that are like you, it's fuck them. It's I don't really like you. I just want to get you pregnant. I just want to whatever. And at the end of the day, you're not going back into your past. You're not thinking about what your ancestors endured to get you where you're at right now. So it's kind of like the victim complex that I'm only going to bring up my ancestors and what they've been through when you're dogging me. I'm not going to sit here and think about me making the right decisions of not drinking and not smoking and not doing anything that's going to set me and my lineage back 200, 300, 400, 500 years. And these are things that I think about. And so I know everybody does not think like everybody thinks, because people are going to say that. But in my mind, I'm like, me knowing the history of my ancestors, me knowing the history of some of my ancestors and what they endured, the whole idea of getting forced to get drunk, getting forced to get high. When they're inebriated, they were treated a certain way, even going into being tricked and deceived by even their own people. This is why I have to live a sober life. This is why I have to keep my mind whole and pure and able to function. This is why I live the certain way I live, which I'm learning is intentionally living. I deliberately say, if the past is going to repeat itself if I do not remember it, right? And like I said, once again, it goes into remembering who you are. What are your core values? If I'm gonna sit here and tell y'all that my ancestors were dogged the fuck out, and I am here to justify and to bring them back to where they should have been, then I'm gonna do that in my actions. I'm gonna do that in the way I speak. I'm gonna do that in the way I treat others. Because on the same side or the same energy, even if your mind was, and I tell y'all this because, like I said, we're in this energy. I met people who was not fond of brown skinned people. I met people who was not fond of LGBT people. I met people who was not fond of anything outside of what I represented. And because I decided to represent myself in the way that I thought and see or saw as my ancestors would have represented themselves, I feel like I helped knock down barriers. And so for me, it's always about being intentional with my actions. Because, like I said, it's not about me thinking or knowing that I'm this or I'm that. It's about me saying that I feel like I'm carrying my ancestors' legacy. And although you may have dogged them out, you may have disrespected them, you may have done A to Z to them, you're not going to have the opportunity with me. Because I'm just as smart as your kids. I'm just as smart as your lineage. I'm just as smart as you. And I'm not even smarter. So this is why I do what I do. This is why I act the way I act. This is why I am the way that I am. It's never to please people. Okay? At one point in time, it was. I was a teenager. But I said, baby, there's no more, girl. You like me, you like me. You don't, you don't. I don't give a fuck, honey. My ancestors, all my ancestors, honey, they fought for what it is that they wanted. They were disrespected. They were violated, even by their own people. And they still stood their ground. And so I'm like, who am I to go through something that they have that what they've been through, that I've never been through that. And I I want to knock on wood, and I'm thankful that I will never go through that. So for me, I want to be intentional with the way I speak. I want to be intentional with the way I interact with people. And I want you to understand that, baby, what my ancestors been through, baby, um, uh, um, it was a lot. But I am their healing. And so this is what I said, and like I said, and I'm gonna continue to say, when I see black people, honey, that whole hooping and hollering, and my ancestors were this and that and mistreated, but yet you go out and you show your motherfucking ass, bitch, you're nothing but a fool. And nothing that your ancestors worked for will ever be appreciated. Nothing what your ancestors been through will ever be seen for the hard work they put into it, because your motherfucking trifling ass ain't displaying that energy. You're not displaying a hard working, disciplined energy, because that's what that is discipline. Okay? And so pushing past that, I had an encounter yesterday. I had an encounter yesterday with a woman and her dog. And this dog normally is an aggressive dog, y'all. And I kind of knew it because when I'm like walking by them, the lady is like grabbing her dog really, really tight as if I was going to steal this dog. And this was my first impression. Was like, oh, this is a big ass dog, or why am I going to steal this dog, right? But of course, I was doing other things. But this dog did not bark at me not one time. And the lady was even saying it. She was like, yeah, this is he's a rescue dog, but he became a protective dog. And normally, like, he's very, aggressive and all this other stuff. But no, he was not. And of course, I was not going to take my chance, girl, and go up to the dog and say, hey, baby, how you doing? I just from a distance, waved to him. And so either way, y'all, it just had me thinking, right? It just really had me thinking in this moment, right? Like animals and how the universe, and this even goes into people too, but I'm going to start with the animals, how the animals are always representing pure energy. They're always representing something that is even beyond, I think, our understanding. Like, girl, they've been researching animals for a very long time. Of course, they research people too, but they really like done a lot of experiments with animals, like dogs and cats, especially too. But um, I was thinking to myself, and after this experience, y'all, and of course, it had me crying. But I was thinking about in this experience, like when you have questions and you feel like no one can answer these questions, and you feel like maybe you may not have an answer to the question, right? I feel like the one answer that we do get, or a particular way that we do get these answers, are through animals. And like I said, thinking about that yesterday, I was like, I remember times where, I felt lonely. I remember there was times where I felt depressed, and we're talking about like when I was a kid and shit, like teenagers and stuff, and I felt alone, and even like my early adult life. Even now, I still feel the same way, but I can manage it. Like I will be in a space full of people, and I still felt like I was the only one there. I felt like I was connecting with these people, but I still felt like I knew we were different. I'm gonna say that. I felt connected. I felt in a place. I felt belonged, like I belonged there, but I still felt like I was different from these other people's energies. And so going into that, when I felt this, animals always brought me some sense of comfort. And it was a lot of times wild animals. It was birds. It was butterflies. It was bees. And the crazy thing about it is, at that time, like I wanted to be a veterinarian, right? I never thought about that, but as I was like growing in that, I noticed like in these energies, or when I was feeling down, I felt like life was dark. It's like these animals or these insects like brought me peace. And so, of course, I didn't become a veterinarian, and I still would not become one, not even a rescue animal helper, because the thought of putting animals to sleep and stuff, I couldn't do that. But either way, animals. Ooh, I did not think I was gonna get. Ooh, girl. Animals bring me so much joy. Wild animals, of course, my fur babies. Yeah, there's times where like I would be like out and about, And I would see like dogs and even cats like do crazy stuff. And it would like make me laugh so hard. And people be like, what, what are you over there laughing at? And it'd be the animals. And even like birds, like the crows and the blue jays, and even the hummingbirds, because I see a lot of them. Like their little interactions with each other. It cracks me up, right? And it also brings me like joy to see that. And I also use it as like a form of meditation too. But I was just sitting here, like I said, thinking about that yesterday, and even right now in this moment. Like I wake up and I'm just thinking about like how the beauty of God and the universe shows up in animals first, because you cannot take away the nature of animals, right? But also in people. And I even saw like videos, y'all, and I've even seen this in person. I had a video, and I told y'all I was going to show y'all this video. I got to find this clip, honey. It's either on one of my phones or it's on one of my tablets, y'all. But I went to this lady's house, an in-person client, and she thought that her farm was hunted. And of course there was some energy there, because it was like, in a mountainous area. And of course this place was like hidden, y'all. This place is like 200 years old. So I'm like, of course there's going to be energetic stuff going on there. But she thought that this place was haunted, and her horse was actually interacting from this energy. And so, long story short, there was some energy there, but this horse was really, really happy. And this horse was like a nosy horse to y'all. Like, I'm not a horse owner, but like I said, I love all animals. And so the way that this horse would interact with these birds, and that's what made this lady. And that's what I'm thinking to myself too. I'm gonna have to do my study on horses. Now I'm sitting here talking to y'all. That's gonna be a little side fun thing for me, because this horse would like bond with like the birds, and bond with just everything, right? Every type of animal this lady would have in this area. And then she bought this horse another horse, and he was kind of like cool, but he really didn't fuck with this other horse either. So that's what made her say like something must be really going on here. And it's like, no, bitch, like there is something going on with this horse. He's just a beautiful energy. This is God's beautiful creation. And then even going into a video that I saw the other day, where it was like a horse and a wild elk, and they were interacting with each other. And the elk was so intrigued by the horse, y'all, and it was just so beautiful to see this. And I was just like, it's these little things that reminds me of God's power. That reminds me of God's love. And when I say God's, I use this as a non-denominational term, because regardless of what, when, why, and how, there is some energy, there is something out there that created all of this. This just did not just, you know, come out of nowhere. Even if it did have its own intelligence for the planet to be formed, and the own intelligence for the birds to, be created, and the humans have their own intelligence system that we came from, we're created from. It's still something that is an energy that is still superior to, equal to, or greater than. And so going even into people, right? And I think about this as well. Oh, that's another thing too, by the way. I want to say that too. Um, but going into people, especially my people, you know, um, of course, people who I interact with, I've connected with, I've felt some energies with, and of course, that's why we're still here. And I call you guys my fellow mystics. Um, but of course, you are my kindred spirits, because, baby, you understand me, I understand you. And of course, I feel like you understand me in my weirdness, honey. I understand and I accept that I am a awkward person. Hello, and I don't apologize for it. Okay, I'm awkward. I'm weird. Okay, and I accept that, baby. Okay, but some of you, and I've talked about this before, but we're gonna go in there. Some of you, like I've done energy work with you, so I've gotten like some of your background and what made you who you were and all that stuff, right? But even there's some of you that I've never done energetic work to prior to this, right? But we connected, and you share with me a lot of heavy and dark things about your life, and it really really took me out, right? And took me out in a sense of where I wanted to be in the moment, right? I wanted to enjoy my experiences, right? And even now, intentional living. But that's why going into like 2017, I think to like 2020, I was like really away from my YouTube channel. I was really, I was doing a lot of stuff on here. I would be on here for hours and hours and hours and hours every single day. And then I slowed down. And I was really getting into doing a lot of work for people, um, in person and online. And like I said, a lot of people were sharing a lot of their stuff with me. And one of my people out there, she said that I reminds her of her mother. My personality and stuff was just like her mom, and just so happened, this person. Oh God, this person lost their mom, violently. And I want to get this out. When this person told me this story, a song came on, and it was called "Death with Dignity." And the way that this person's mom was taken out was through domestic violence. And that's something I can relate to because not only one of my favorite play aunties was taken out by that, her husband actually ran her over. and dragged her like 300 feet under his car. But I also was abused by an ex-boyfriend of mine and almost died. And you know what's the craziest part to even sit here and think about it? I think that's why all these emotions are coming up right now. Is that this man went on, my perpetrator, he went on to be a great MMA fighter. This man has went on to be a great MMA fighter. And so when I got this from, I'm going to call her a spiritual sister because that's what we call each other. I felt like this was like parallel worlds colliding because the same thing that almost took me out actually took out her mother. And the craziest thing around this, like I said, that song came on, "Death with Dignity," but I think it's Sir John Stevens. It might be the other way around, Stevens Sir John. But I started like having dreams about her mother, and so knowing like this person's like rough life, y'all, like to have this experience and to know about your mother being taken out by her boyfriend, and to also have been like somebody who they just been through a lot. And I of course, I don't want to re-bring it up, but they've been through a lot, and it made me become really fascinated with this person, and like really connect with this person in a sense of like we're both being the same sign, going into, you know, her mother, her love and connection with her mother, and making these references to me and all that, and then knowing that story. Like I said, y'all, it really, when I say it took me out, y'all, for the rest of that year, I was really focusing my energy on not only healing myself because I thought I was over that abuse that I dealt with, but also to help out others who may have endured that, and not even just the victims, but also maybe the children of the victims. And so either way, in that process, just so happened, my sister. I think this was like 4 months or 5 months after my sister has passed away. Had passed away, and so I was, in that energy still, and of course, you know, and I kind of felt like this, y'all, and I've been kind of talk about this if I can, with my therapist, that I had some type of I won't say guilt, but I felt some type of way because, and I know this is stupid to you all, but it's just the way my brain thinks. This person was there for me, and they're still there for me to this day, but they were there for me during my darkest experiences in life, right? And not just, the death of my sister, because I told y'all around that time there was a lot of stuff that went down. That was like a whole era. And I won't even say even for that, like those 3 years of my life was probably like the heaviest, right? I thought I experienced the heaviest when I was prior to that, but that was the heaviest. Like that's what those 3 4 years from 2016 to 2020, 2021, it truly made me remember who I am in the inside. It really made me remember who I am in the inside. And even although it was not intentional from her or even some of you other ones, because there was also two other people that was there for me, and weekly, you were reaching out to me, you were texting me, you even sent over something I didn't need it, but you sent you were sending money over, and once again, I didn't ask for this stuff. And so I will always remember these people, right? And if they need something, I will always be there for them. I will clear my schedule for these people respectfully. And so going into this person in particular, like I said, it made me feel some type of way, like when they needed support and they needed somebody to be there with them through these experiences. I wasn't there. And I know it's dumb, y'all, because I probably wasn't even born when this happened. But it made me feel, like I said, some type of way because I couldn't be there for them during their darkest moments and their darkest times and their divorce or whatever issues they had. But they were there for me during my darkest moments. And like I said, I know, even though their moments was before they met me, they still did not have my support. And so it made me feel some type of way. And like I said, I know that's stupid to a lot of you because you're just like, but how could you have remorse about something you okay? But I'm just being honest with you. I felt some type of way. My energy felt weird. My energy, I was upset, right? I'm just gonna be honest. I was upset about it, but of course, through therapy and stuff, I got over it. And so that's why I'm here, and I come here, and I show up, and I sometimes even ask God, like, give me a message that you know many of my people can relate to, but if she's needing this message, allow her to feel that message. I definitely do that because, of course, honey, I want to make up for lost times. Okay? If you want to say that, I want to make up for lost times. And that's actually the solution that was given to me to help me get over that remorse feeling, that feeling of I couldn't be there when they lost their mother. I couldn't be there when they were experiencing life's heavy ups and downs, or even, cheerlead them on when they were, going through schooling and learning certain things. But, I'm here now. And then same thing with that. They weren't there with me during, other darker times or dark times, but they were there for me, like I said, when I needed them, the most. And I will continue to say this. And that's why I always give a shout out to this person because it goes deeper than just YouTube support. It goes deeper than just someone who pays for a class or who pays for casework. It goes deeper than that. And of course, once again, the whole topic of this is God, using angels, people, energetic energy to comfort you in your darkest moments. When you're feeling like you're not seeing anything else, you're not tapping into anything else, you know, God is always there. The universe is always letting you know that I'm here, right? I'll never leave you and I'll never forsake you. And of course, religion has taken that and they've used it for their own, narrative, which is okay, you know. But I do know that that's just how it is when it comes to energy, period. Because of course, you are in the universe, right? And so you are of the universe and you're experiencing every single thing that the universe has possibly experienced. And even going into the sense of genetics, y'all. Like, I know this is a little side thing, but I'm going to say this before I go. Something that I found out is called genetic variation. And although there's 7 billion people in this world, 8 billion people, and somewhere I got there was like 10 billion people, but 2 billion people are unaccounted for. I can't remember. Don't even quote me on that. Okay, we're gonna keep to what the world record says. So 7 billion, almost 8 billion. Okay, or 8 billion, whatever. Do you know that scientists have said that genetically, and of course, I feel like they're putting limitations on something that is possible because, of course, if it's not possible in their mind, it doesn't exist. But they are saying that, and I want you to understand this. Ooh, excuse me. I want you to understand how this is in connections to your ability, right? I'm going to relay this. 8 billion people, they said that genetically, there cannot be so many people looking like they own themselves. Genetically, it's like a lottery, right? It has to, and I want to pull this up before I get into it because people be say that people speak out their ass, and I just want to sometimes just pull up T to show T and all that. Hold on, genetic variation. Ooh, I feel better, y'all. So, genetic variation refers to the diversity in DNA sequences amongst individuals in a population arising from mutation, gene flow, and sexual reproduction. It serves as the raw material for evolution, allowing species to adapt to environmental changes, and common types include nucleotide polymorphism, morphism, structural variants, and insurgence and deletions. And so, either way, nature has this way of putting things into genetic makeup and removing things out so people will look like others, but like minus, let's say, like their face is big but their eyes are different from the other person. That is a form of genetic variations. But it was saying that online, and you could type this in, that everyone has at least 6 to 8 people in this whole world that looks identical to them, and they don't even have to be related to you. Okay, 6 to 8 people in this whole world that look identical to you, and then it's because of genetic variation that the rest of them don't look like you, because you might have the same forehead, you might have the same jaw, you may have the same lips, you might have the same nose. And so I was meditating on this, right, when I got this information, and I feel like this is the universe saying 8 billion people, 6 to 8 people looks like you, identical to you. This is also saying that every single story, every single experience that you have can go 6 to 8 different ways. Something that I've been working on since my intentional living, and once again, this is not for y'all, this is for me. Because I'm not telling you how to live. Like I said, I gave up red meat. Uh, uh, Unintentional but intentional. I'm not protesting for people to give up red meat. That's your business, not mine. Okay, I got to do what I feel is good for me. Just like I'm sure people who drink and smoke, you don't drink and smoke because you care about what other people, if other people drink or smoke. You drink and smoke because you want to drink smoke. Same thing with that. Okay, I don't eat red meat because I feel like I don't want to eat red meat. But either way, going into that, that when an experience come up for me, and this is intentionally living, when an experience come up for me, I think about, not in the moment, something just happened, I'm upset, whatever. That's one variation of that experience. That's one interpretation of that experience. That's one side of that experience. I start thinking about all of the scenarios if I care to think about it. Because what I really do is I just said, like, okay, well, that's the first thing that came to my mind. That don't mean that's what it's going to be. And I let it be. I let it go and I let it flow. Okay? I let it go and I let it flow. And so that's what I've been learning to do. Every experience that you have, there's something that just came up for me. Every moment in time is an expansive experiences of opportunity to know how worthy you are. Come on here, Tony Jones. That's part of her little thing called I'm Worthy. But either way, every experience could be interpreted 6 to 8 ways. Or every experience have multiple interpretations. Why choose the negative one? Why jump through the worst scenario first? And of course, if you are jumping to the worst scenario or the worst scenario, and you're actually saying this is what it is, this is what I'm focusing on. Now it's time to step back as a conscious being. Now it's time to step back as somebody who's willing to have power, to want to have power over their life, because it's about you taking back the power of your life. Right? That's what this is really about. Living life is about being born. If you don't understand, if you've never, thought about this, but you're born into this world and you really have no control. I mean, as a baby, you can't even control if you want to put your left hand, your right hand out. You can't control if you want to punch somebody. You might accidentally punch somebody by accident. You have no control over your bodily functions, right? And as you become older, you become wiser and you start to develop coordination. You start to develop, motor skills and all this other good stuff. And that's how it is with life, period. You come into life being in not control, people controlling you, people dictating, telling you what to do, how to talk, how to walk, how to act, how to be. People giving you your personality, people telling you who you should be like, who you should act like, what you should like. You want candy, they say, no, baby, you're going to eat fruits and vegetables. You're like, oh, I don't like fruits and vegetables. No, you're going to love fruits and vegetables. And now you think you love fruits and vegetables and you really don't. And yes, fruits and vegetables are needed, but there's a lot of fruits and vegetables you could be eating. Maybe you don't like squash, but you like green beans. And green beans also have nutrients in it. Hello? And the other nutrients, the other shit that you cannot get from the other foods you don't like, you can supplement that. But either way, take your power back and reevaluate your energies and how you intertwine with these experiences. It's not about other people. It's about your experiences and how you're viewing the experience that you're having. We can all be in the same experience. We can all have the same story being told to us, but I'm going to take from that story something very different from you. And it doesn't mean that I'm wiser than you. It doesn't mean that I'm less wiser than you. It just means that my interpretation of that was a different interpretation. And that's okay. Because what is for me is for me. What is not for me is not for me. And so we have to understand this in all of our experiences, y'all. And like I said, the genetic, connection to that. That there's multiple interpretations, just like there's multiple people who look like you. They maybe have even the same personality as you, right? Because you're new in the sense of your identity, but you're not new in the sense of your identity, baby. Because the flesh that you have right now has definitely been borrowed. It's a replica of something. Hello? Hello? Am I talking to somebody? It's a replica of something. So that's where it's at for me. I don't jump into the first thing like, oh, this is what it is. I really understand that life is a story and it's always unfolding. And I really understand that my interpretation in this moment is not how it is or how it's always going to be. So I just say, it is what it is. Universe, I'm thankful for this experience. Something this experience is an opportunity for me to learn my worth. Something in this experience is for me to learn my worth. I also am beginning to say out loud when I feel like I'm having a reoccurrence of something. I will also say out loud to spirit that I missed the lesson, but now I want to learn what this lesson is. And of course, something to end up unfolding within that moment. And y'all, this is all within like, a few weeks, a month of, of a time span. We'll say I started December 2025. And so, we're just evolving. Okay. So anyway, y'all, stay positive, stay encouraged, you know, you know, stay on your T, stay who you are, stay true to you. And if people don't like you or anything about you, honey, cut them off. I was gonna say something else like fuck them, and I could still say that fuck them. At the end of the day, fuck them, honey. You okay? You don't owe nobody anything, honey. You came into this world. You fought to become in this world, to become of this world. Hello, you fought your way through to get here. Okay, and baby, when it's time for you to go, ain't nobody gonna fight for you to stay. Okay? So, baby, fuck them. Okay? Let me see what's up in here. Ain't nobody? Okay, not the horse being nosy. I'm sure it loved to gossip. Yes, honey. Heather, honey, this horse, Baby, when I tell you, when I was there, this horse, I really thought that this horse was like a human, but I feel like that about a lot of animals. I feel like just a strong connection with animals, in particular dogs, right? Dogs, I love dogs. 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 When I was a kid, I had two dogs that I could not keep. And it fucked me up. I had a dog named Baby. Of course, Anubis is my second baby, but I had a dog named Baby. He was a German Shepherd and Chow Chow mix, and he actually ended up getting sick. And so we had to take him to the pound. Of course, they fixed him up and he was rescued, thank God. But yeah, I had another dog. His name was Ace. He passed away. He was a black dog. Somebody poisoned him, a nasty little old ass witch bitch. And I hope she's burning in motherfucking hell right now, bitch. Okay. Anyway, and then also, yeah, Baby, I had to put him away. Before Baby, I had a dog named Sooner, y'all. Sooner was a Labrador and Brindle Pit mixed dog, and he was like gorgeous, y'all. And I actually got him, and I felt like I was gonna get him, and my mom was gonna change her mind, and she did for a little bit. But then she got my motherfucking stepdad at a motherfucking vouch, and they got rid of my motherfucking dog. But Sooner was so intelligent, y'all, that, and I want to say this too. My dogs, like Anubis kind of does his own thing, and I kind of said like this will be my only mistake. Anubis was spoiled. He came into my life where I when I needed like that companionship, and so I really just spoiled this baby to show him that I really loved him, and him being abandoned by his previous owners and stuff. So I really was like, I want to love him. I want to support him. So I never like put him in kennels or any of that. Bella, of course, never been put in a kennel neither, girl. But I'm saying in comparison. So he does do things sometimes the way he want to do things. Like I'll tell him no and he'll still do it. Or he'll try to like fight with me back. Like, bitch, I'm going to do it anyway. But like my first dog, Baby, my dog, Sooner, I had a white poodle chihuahua mixed dog named Chewy. Which that was a fucking horrible story too, y'all. I'm not gonna get into that too. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that too, y'all, because it's gonna make me dig this motherfucker up and get him right together. No, fuck it, I'm gonna talk about it. There was a guy that came, and I knew this guy. It was a surfer guy from San Diego. I was living in Stockton at the time, and he would go to Sacramento because he had, like, I think, friends up there. There was some type of, like, tournament thing up there, and this motherfucker was becoming, like, a pro water sport person. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that, honey. This motherfucker, I was moving and I said I gotta get rid of my dog, but I don't want to take him to a pound. And he was like, "Oh my God, hold on, let me see." So he's calling his baby mom, and of course she answers, and he's like, "Hey, I have a dog for Bam Bam and da 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 da." And she's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." So travel. So then he takes a picture of the dog. He sends it to her. And then she's like, "Yes, we'll take it." So mind you, he got to drive to San Diego, and that was a 12-hour drive from Stockton. And this is probably like 11 o'clock at night. So he takes my dog, and I give him the food, and y'all, of course, it was the saddest thing for me because I'm like, I just felt like I just gave away my baby, honey. I was like, oh my God. And so either way, y'all, he left, and y'all, let me tell you how the universe worked too. That's how I'm going to tell y'all this really quickly. So he leaves with the dog, and the dog, that's it. I didn't hear from him or seen the dog. Well, I end up texting like a month or two later, and he's like, "Yeah, I had to give the dog away because he knew I was gonna ask for the picture of the dog." And I was like, "Really? Why? What happened?" And he's like, "Yeah, because my child's mom said they couldn't have the dog neither." And I was like, "Okay, well, I hope they're treating my dog good or whatever." Y'all, I met these people on Moco Space, and this guy became like my brother. This is a heterosexual identifying man. And of course, he's like, "I like your vibes, blah, 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 whatever." He wasn't even into brown skinned girls. He liked them, he liked white girls. So we were talking, we became cool. I guess they became homeless within like 3 or 4 months of this. So then, of course, he's like, "Can I just come to your house? Can me and my girl take a shower?" And then, I got you, whatever. So they came over. Long story short, she's like, yeah, I have dogs, but my dogs are in the car, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. You could bring them in. I didn't know she had like 4 or 5 dogs, y'all. When I tell you, no, no, the first time they left the dogs at the hotel in Modesto. And she sent me a picture of these dogs, y'all. And I'm sitting there looking at all these dogs. I'm like, wait a minute, that look like my dog. So I asked her, where did she get this dog at? And she's like, well, I found him on the side of the road. And I was like, side of the road, where? And she's like, in Salida. And that's right before you get to Modesto, y'all. And I'm like, what? So I was like, okay. But I was like, well, I don't think that's my dog because why would he do that? I'm thinking, why would he do that? So I was like, I want to meet your dog. So she had 6 dogs. Out of 6 dogs, she brought 4 of them, and they were all Chihuahua, Dachshund. One was like a pug nose, and then one was this dog. And when she brought this dog, y'all, this white dog was like so excited to see me. This dog was wagging his tail. This dog was like, girl, jumping on me and shit. And I knew it was my dog, y'all. And I did not, like, in this moment, I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, girl, then I'm going to want to say, girl, give my dog back. And this dog has, like, been with this lady, you know, this dog has been with this lady probably for a good year at this point. So I'm like, yeah. So I did tell her after, they went back with her. I told her, so I do want to let you know that that white dog, his name was Chewy. And then his name was also Snowy. It was Snowy and Chewy. And literally, yeah, a guy told me that he was going to take that dog to his son. He ended up leaving that dog. So you're confirming to me that that's what he did. And if I ever come across that fucker, I'm letting him have it. Of course, I never came across him. Y'all, this was like 2010, I think, 2010, 2011. So I was like, girl, okay. Girl, okay, girl. Fucker left my dog on the side of the road. Girl, I could have just snuck my dog in. But anyway, yeah, that host was very nosy, honey. And like I said, animals, I feel like they're humans, right? I just feel like these babies are so smart. And then I looked up and they said that dogs have the brain of a 2-year old. So I just always think about it and say, oh, the poor babies. And even when the dogs are like barking and growling, so I just say, oh, the poor baby, he's having a trouble too right now. And the lady's like, trouble too? I remember the bitch was like, trouble too. And that's how me thinking too, girl. Why do y'all have dogs if y'all don't think these dogs? Why y'all if like no shade? If y'all think these dogs are just animals, why get a fucking dog? Get rid of your dogs then, babe. Don't get a dog. If these dogs, oh, these are just animals. They could stay outside in the heat. They could be outside in the cold. Oh, no dog can get in my bed. Then don't get an animal, bitch. I respect you for not having an animal, then to have an animal, make your dog sleep outside. And there's no shade to anybody. Unless your dog is a working dog, which is a protective dog, but even then, that dog is still going to have some type of shelter. The dog's still going to have a roof over his head. He's going to have a fan in his house. He's going to have a heating blanket. Like, no shade. He's a working dog, but he's still going to have my motherfucking respect. Okay, and so canines and call me the queen of canine, baby. I feel like I'm the fairy godmother to all dogs, by the way. But baby, yes, honey, my house dogs are gonna be in the inside. They're gonna sleep on my bed. Yes, they do. They sleep on my bed. I wipe their paws down every night. They take a weekly bath. I wipe them down. I spray them down with this soothing stuff every day. And like I said, I got some antibacterial wipes that I wipe their feet down with, so they don't just get in my bed being dirty and shit. Can we talk about it? And they sleep with their mama. And if you actually do your research, dogs that sleep with their pet owners, or excuse me, dogs that sleep with their owners, or dogs that sleep with their human parents, they actually live longer because pets like to bond with their human companions, and it relieves oxytocin. Okay, look up what oxytocin is, y'all, and what it does for you. Hello. Okay, so animals who sleep with their parents live longer, and so my dogs will always have upper hand to people. And if you don't like it, girl, stay the fuck out. Hello, I don't care. People say, "What happened when you get a man? What happened if he don't like dogs?" Well, he ain't gonna be my man then, because my man gotta like dogs, and he gotta understand my dogs are gonna be in my motherfucking bed with their motherfucking mama. Hello, bitch, the fuck, and where I go, they go, bitch. If they're not welcome, I'm not welcome. Hello. Okay, my babies go everywhere with me. Yes, they do. Anubis, some, when I go out the house, Bella go with me because Anubis is trying to hump her. So she's been with me for 2 weeks or 2 months. She go every day with her mama when her mama leaves. So, girl, you're damn right. She still comes with me. But honey, yes, they're always with their mama. They're always, this and that, blah blah blah. I love it. Okay, let me go. Let me read this comment cycle, y'all. We've been here for an hour. Hello, y'all. The Stash Shashu experience. Great joy. I was just thinking of you. Come on in here, Sashu experience. Who are you? And thank you for thinking of me, honey. God bless you. The universe bless you, honey. Can I can I close this out with a prayer, y'all? I feel like I want to send y'all some good vibes and some good tea. And of course, I'm not putting my hands on you. Okay, because you can't trust that girl. But when people say, "Let me pray for," they want to touch on you. But I wanna open up the doors. I wanna help open up some gateways today. Hello, I wanna help build up the people because y'all, we are experiencing some storms right now in this world, and I want you to understand that these storms are only temporary. Okay, because in the morning. Okay, the sun will come. The sun will come when you're experiencing storms. Wait for the sunlight. Okay, is that what Mary said? What in the morning, the sun will shine. In the morning, yes, honey. That's what Mary said, honey. When you're experiencing darkness, just wait for the daylight. Ooh, honey, we all been through that. Um, I can't see you. Hello, Henry Choktera. No, you cannot see me, babe. I'm naked right now. When you two become adult friendly, I will definitely come up. Girl, what? I'm not ashamed of my motherfucking body. Yes. When you two become adult friendly, I will come up more frequently. And there you go, because I don't got to cover up my body. The fuck? Excuse me, bitch. No, I can get on here and I don't have to girl bye. I don't have to worry about a bra slip. I can let titties hang out. Girl, no shade, honey. YouTube, can we make a 18 plus section so I can cam up and not have on the top? I wonder if I breastfeed my baby, will it? I wonder if I breastfeed my baby, will I be able to get on YouTube topless? Girl, that would gag the children. Let me look up the online laws, girl. Hello, that would gag the set. Just some pictures. Look at my profile. Animals are very empathetic. Yes, they're very empathetic. Yes, animals are very empathetic. And I noticed about birds. Birds are very timid. Butterflies are also very timid. And that's another thing too, y'all. That's why I love when spring becomes summer or winter becomes spring because all these butterflies just float around and they float around you in circles and they land on you. And I feel that butterflies clear the space for positivity. And I love it, honey. Same thing like I said with the bees, honey. The bees show up and they show out. And people are like, damn, you always having bees on you around you. And I said, baby, one of my mothers is Oshun, you know, my divine feminine energy is Oshun. And Oshun is the queen of bees, honey. Beyonce, that's why Beyonce feel like she is also the queen bee. Hello. And you know what, y'all? I want to, let me not say that. I want to say this. No, we're not going to say that because we're not doing celebrity shutouts. My dogs are really protective. Plus, I didn't know poodles had hair, not fur. Like, how does that work? Right. Yes, poodles have hair and not fur. And poodles are so funny to me. They're probably the most funniest dog. Poodles are so elegant to me, Heather. They're so elegant. They move so gracefully. But when they bark, it'd be like, woo, woo, woo. Poodles give me like this passable transgender that still sounds like a male, honey. Like, honey, they give me poodles give me world's most beautiful transgender tea, honey. No shade, girl. Or they just be like, this bitch is so beautiful. And she just moves so elegantly. And as soon as she sees, she just, and I remember this lady that I used to help back in the day. She had a full size poodle, a smaller poodle, because poodle has like, what is it, like a miniature poodle, a toy poodle, a regular size poodle, right? There's like three different sizes of poodle, but I just want to say they have four different sizes of poodles, and the bigger one, honey, he was just like so, just like all up on you, honey. Like he was just saying. The other ones, honey, they sat back and they were watching. They were like, let's see what this bitch gonna do. And it was just so funny to me the way this lady had the haircut. And she's like, yeah, don't worry about them. And I was like, oh, I'm not worried about them, honey. But this one, honey, he just felt like he had to like, and I felt like this dog was like an ostrich or something in the past life. Because when he would bark, he would like move his face forward. Like he'd be like, roo, 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 roo. But I just like said, poodles are just so funny to me to see how elegant they look and to hear that bark like, girl, that's how y'all bark? Okay? Come on, poodles. They're special. So animals must really be connected to the heart and gut space more so than the head space. Like they don't get stuck in their heads. You said it, they don't, honey. And regardless of how animals train, they will still be how they're meant to be naturally. Look at the stories of people, and of course, this is abuse. I don't care nobody say. It is not in a dog's nature to attack human beings. It is not in a dog's nature to attack other animals. That is a natural way of them protecting themselves. When they feel threatened or they feel in danger, they will protect themselves. Yes, they will. Yes, they will, hon. So when there's a vicious animal, you know the animal's a victim of abuse. You know the animal's a victim of being tortured. Okay? And so that's what I don't get down with. Yes, honey. Not the horse being nosy. Yes, honey. Hey, Dee Dee, how you doing? Love the Come on, water shrimp. It's 962. What about lamb? Lamb, the same way, honey. I do not eat lamb. If you're talking about what we don't eat, I don't eat anything red. And I actually want to look this up, Jay, beans we're on it. Can we look at it? Can we look at it? Because you know I love me some lamb, honey. I love me some lamb at a point, huh? How close related are lambs to humans? So cows and humans are 80% related. We have 14,000 common use genes, but I said lamb. How related? No. Ooh. How close are lambs related to humans? Oh, it says close too. They have 11,000 genes. Wait, but I want to see the percentage. What percentage of genes do lambs share with humans? 75 to 80. You see what I be thinking about? I know a lot of y'all don't think about that, but I be thinking about that like, let me see. How close, what? Hold on. What percentage of genes do humans share with chicken? Yeah, it says that we only share 60% of genes with chickens. 60%. 60%. And see, I still feel a little crazy eating animal, period, because I know this, right? But I feel like 60% and below, I'm like, well, that's half. You know, half is, I mean, girl, you still need the other half to be complete. But when you got like 80%, y'all, in identicalness, it's kind of like people saying it's okay to marry and have a baby with their cousin. Like, I'm seeing that as the same thing. Like, baby, yeah, no shade. I'm like, yeah, babe. Yeah, cows are so much, and I read this to y'all too, honey. What emotional traits do lambs share with humans? It says that lambs share deep emotional traits with humans, including the capacity for complex social bonds, fear, joy, boredom, and affection. And see what I mean? This is why I stopped eating red meat. It said that lambs share deep emotional traits with humans, including the capacity for complex social bonds like fear, joy, boredom, affection, and they are highly sociable, feeling immense stress when isolated, and can form cross-species attachments showing reduced anxiety and lower heart rates when petted by familiar humans. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. I do not care. Intelligence mean everything. Our ancestors did not have the intelligence of knowing, because of course there's things outside of animals that you can consume to get your intelligence or to get your nutrition, right? Your nutrients. So I'm just saying this because, girl, you can go out and fish in the ocean and get nutrients. There's trees that have certain sap that gives you nutrients. There's other things you can consume to get your nutrients. No shade, girl. Even insects and stuff. There's insects that could have been eradicated that have high protein content that you can consume. So what I am saying is something happened demonically, and that's why a lot of these energies require you to sacrifice lambs, goats, and chickens, because that is demonically, not heavenly or angelically. Hello, let's talk about it. And so for me, I'm like, what do I look like telling you that a mother should go to jail? And this is a real story for me, y'all. What do I look like saying that a woman should go to jail for abandoning her children or making her children feel any type of way? Let's say maybe abuse. When we eat fucking cows and we eat fucking lamb. For me, like I said, it's not for y'all. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. And I'm not going to defriend you or dislike you because you choose to still eat that. But for me, it's like, what I look like eating an animal when I don't have to eat this animal. I don't have to consume this animal. And if they said, honey, you have to eat a lamb in order to get this nutrients because it's only found in lamb, so be it. It's my time to go then, bitch. It's my time to go. Take me out. Throw away the key. No shade, honey. Take me the fuck out. Because like I said, for me, a being that is so precious and beautiful as a lamb, to have the ability to understand social bonds. And that'd be another thing too, y'all, where it just gagged me because I'm like, girl, the gag of it all, the irony of it all is that, girl, humans don't even understand our social bonds. Humans don't even understand what it's like to have fear, joy, boredom, and affection. Humans don't even understand how to be highly sociable. They don't understand how to feel immense stress or, or understand what the importance of being isolated or not being isolated. Like, that is the gag of it all to me, is that we consume animal or we consume things that understand these things and they're not taught it. You cannot train a lamb, and that's what I keep saying. You cannot train us on how to be affectionate neither. We're naturally affectionate. What you can do is teach us how not to be affectionate. What you can teach us is not how to have love. What you can teach us how to be antisocial. But naturally, we are highly sociable beings. Naturally, we are beings that know what it's like to feel affection. We know what it's like to be boredom and be joyous. Like, that is our divine right. And so for me, as a human being, and this is the oath that I took upon myself and I was saying out loud to y'all, me as a human being could never, ever, ever intentionally, purposefully endanger, attack, consume, or do any type of harm to any of God's creation. Okay? I do not think that God created vermin. I will say that. I do not think that God created vermin, and I do not think that God created certain pest. Hello. So I do not have remorse for that. Okay? But I will not be, for the rest of my life, consuming any type of red meat, any type of animal, any type of thing that knows the idea of what it's like to be loved, because some of us want to be loved. The idea of knowing what it's like to be, and as I said, it's very hypocritical, right? That's a hypocrite, girl. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. To be like, I'm in love, I need joy, I feel love. I love this energy. And when someone take it away from me, I'm upset. But you took this grown ass heifer, female cow, from her calf. And y'all, even like seeing y'all, because, I see a lot of farmland. I see a lot of cows and stuff and, where I be at. And I just watch the cows and stuff just interact with each other. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, there was a black and white cow. And girl, they were having a good old hay time, girl. I don't know what they were doing, but they were side by side. They were eating the grass. And one would go this way, the other one go this way. And then they get back down. They go this way, go this way. And it was just like a rhythm, y'all. And I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, I wanted to pull on the side of the road, get out my car, and say, what y'all doing, babies? So, yeah. For me, no lamb. For me, no goat. For me, no cow. For me, definitely no pork. Um, Respectfully. And like I said, shout out to my fellow humans who do consume those things. God bless you. God love you. God be with you. And that's it, honey. You got to do what's good for you. And don't apologize, honey. Because I'm not apologizing for not wanting to eat it. Ow! That is how they bark. Right, right. Someone stole my pet Shih Tzu as a kid. His name was Gizmo. Oh, oh, right. How dare someone do that? Oh, that is sad. Whoa, you have me thinking of this dog in my neighborhood that always growling and barking. Yeah, he's being abused. Call the animal control. That's what I'm gonna start doing, honey. When animals are aggressive, they're crying out for unless like I'm fucking with their owner, because Anubis he's very protective over his mama. Anyone would tell y'all, Anubis, do not play about his mama, honey. He don't want you nowhere near me. Bella gets a little jealous too, but Anubis is like, baby, don't come near my mama. I don't even want you looking at her. Okay? We were in the car the other day. I brought him with me. I was like, girl, let me go to Sprouts to go get my Rutin, Rutin, a supplement. Y'all look that up, Rutin. And honey, it was tinted windows, but this motherfucker could see through those tinted windows, honey. The windows were tinted, the windows were cracked down. I guess the motherfucker was just staring into my car. And Anubis just started barking and barking and barking. And I'm looking outside. I'm like, who the fuck is he barking? I don't see nobody there. And I look over and I see the car, and it was the guy there. And he kept like putting his head up, like, what's up? What's up? And it's like, bitch, yeah, honey, my baby don't want you looking. Bitch, you hear him barking. Look the other way, motherfucker. And then, of course, the light turned green. But yeah, honey. Yes. So you're even on that might have a slightly close connection to humans. Yes. Well, I don't know if I don't know in the sense of like genetics. I doubt it. Does humans share the same genes as butterflies? It said that we do share a set of genes with butterflies because of a distant common ancestor. While the DNA sequence differs significantly in organization, many genes regulate basic cellular processes like metabolism and development, such as the HOX gene, are highly conserved, meaning they are structurally and functionally similar between both species. So we do have a common gene called the HOX gene, but yes, honey, wait a minute. Girl, bye. And that's why they think we evolved from monkeys, because it said that chimps and humans still 98% of DNA genes. So that means that we evolved from cows or cows evolved from us. Hello! Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it, girl? Can we talk about it, y'all? Honey, if they want to compare, oh yeah, we're 98% identical to them. That don't mean a fuck ass thing. Maybe God wanted us to battle. Maybe that's gonna be the real battle, girl. Us going against chimpanzees and shit. Hello? Maybe that's what it. See, See, I'm even talking. I'm even sounding like a chimp. That's my chimp call. Y'all, now we own this, honey. Hold on, girl. Bonolos? Is it Bonacos? Hold on. Bonobos. Are y'all ready for something? Are y'all ready for something? They say that science never lies. So let me tell you the truth by sharing this with you, honey. I felt like I wanted to rap for a minute. Hold on. Calm down, Gemini. There is a primate called bonobos. And the scientific term for them is called Pan-Panescus. And they are endangered, highly intelligent apes. Now, I want to type this in before I say this. When was the bonobos discovered? In 1929, they were officially recognized as a distinct species from chimpanzees. I want to let y'all know something. something that man did not coin and man did not tamper with is homosexuality, um, heterosexuality, and something called transsexuality, which of course could be somebody who's born anatomically male, who feels like the opposite sex of where they were born. And of course, this all have medical background. Everything that's in between that has been constructed. And I've always said this because a lot of people, in my opinion, who either have some type of trauma, sexually abused or of that nature, they have to have the most elaborate sexual, and not privately, because what you do privately, that's your business, because I feel like we all have personal secrets and stuff when it comes to sexual attraction stuff. We don't tell everybody everything. I believe that personally. You're not going to tell people that you have a foot fetish unless you're just freaked out. Hello. You're not going to tell people that you have a fetish of hairy feet or hairy balls unless you're just freaked out with it, right? That's something that you privately, like, that's something that you're into and you're almost ashamed to say it. But I noticed that a lot of people have been so freaked out with new terminology. And I really saw this in 2017 because there was even people I got into it and they were like, I'm this, I'm that. And even now I know people who are alleging that they are pansexuals. And I'm like, wait a minute, you don't want to call yourself pansexual because pan means you like everything. That means you like anything that will let you do it. And sometimes anything that won't let you do it, because Pan was depicted in, many things of him violating a goat, right? And so either way, all this is symbolic, but it means something. And so something about the bonobos, y'all can look this up. Their scientific term is called Panscanus or Paniscus. And this was given to them by scientists. And they became noted in 1929. Just so happily, that's around the time they were also exploring the fact that a male can become a woman and live successfully as a woman, because for the first 2 months of pregnancy, everybody is female. So I really don't know people who are scientifically intelligent, whom is upset and irritated at someone who present as being male, who decides to transition into being a female, when in reality, they were female for the first 8 weeks of their life. Scientifically factual. Hello! So stepping back onto what I was saying, they were experiencing in 1920s with implanting transgender people or intersex people with uteruses. And one almost happened in 1926. The person's name was actually Dove, D-O-V-E. And I believe they were in Germany. Don't quote me on that. And it was not successful. They actually ended up dying. They, succumbed to the procedure, but they were able to live with the uterus in them, I think, for like a few days or a few weeks. And so either way, going back into what I was saying with the bonobos, is that these bonobos are considered pansexual by nature. And these bonobos, y'all look up the stories, these bonobos, they are out here doing it with the baby monkeys. They're doing it with the grown monkeys. They're doing it with the woman monkeys. They're doing it with the man monkeys. Hello? Hold on. They're doing it with the man monkeys, the woman monkeys, the baby monkeys. Y'all, look this up, girl. The babies are doing the people, the grown monkeys. Like, girl, it's crazy. So I kind of got into an intelligent, heated debate because the person who was talking about this, they identified as being pansexual. And I said, so you don't think that this is something that you don't want to like associate yourself with? But why would I? Because that's who I am. No, girl, you were told what a pansexual was. You're into man and woman. You're into human grown man or woman. Girl, that makes you bisexual or just attracted to other human beings, because you could be attracted, but that don't mean you're going to have sex with all of them. Now, you're having sex with everything you're attracted to. There's some type of sexual deviance in that, girl. Because even as, a woman that likes a man, I'm attracted to a lot of people, but I wouldn't have sex with them. Hello? I see a lot of good-looking men. If he was to say, do you want to fuck? No, I don't. But I think you're attractive. Hello? Hello? Are my fellow intelligent people out there? Am I, hello? Just because I find you attractive, I mean I have to fuck you. Same thing with women. I see beautiful women. I see beautiful men. But it don't mean, ooh, I want to sleep with her. You could be a beautiful, I mean, like I said, I could be attracted to you. Clearly, that's what I'm saying. You're beautiful. That means I find you attractive. Do I want to fuck? No. Respectfully, can I don't? Hello, no shade. And so, going on with that, being sexually attracted to, but actually doing is two different things. So it's like, yeah, baby, you become a homosexual when you're actually having sex with someone of the same gender expression, the same gender identity. You're not a homosexual because you find a man with muscles and a big bulge hot. Okay, hello. Same thing with that. Oh, I'm pansexual because I like everything. No, baby, listen, girl. And this is what it's saying publicly what pansexuality is. This is what it's saying publicly what it said. Hold on. What is pansexuality? This is where the devil starts to switch around and play with the words. And I'm telling you this from somebody who's part of the LGBT community. See, I'm going to call what is right, what is wrong. Pansexuality is a sexual orientation characterized by attraction to people regardless of their gender, sex, or gender identity. Gender, sex, or gender identity. Is this not bisexuality? Is that not bisexuality? I mean, I'm just confused here. Like, is that not bisexuality? So I'm like, no, honey, this sounds like a genetic cover up. Pan comes from the Greek word all, meaning pansexual could be attracted to people of any gender. Girl, y'all being cute. Y'all being cute, girl. Because let me tell you guys something was really, really, truly, and really, really factual, and I'm going to be up out of here. I said I was going to be out of here, but I'm going to be out of here for real. A lot of your elites call themselves pansexuals because they be fucking on animals. They don't call themselves pansexual because they're into transgenders, cross-dressers, gay boys, butch queens, femme queens, woman and man. They don't call themselves that because of that. Girl, they call themselves that, girl, because they be over here doing it with goats, lambs, chickens, and all that. And the shade of it all is that they got it from the Egyptian and the Middle Eastern sexual rituals. Because there's certain type of deities that you have to tap into by means of sex with the motherfucking animals. So don't sit here and play in my motherfucking face and assault my motherfucking intelligence to be like, girl, you're anti-LGBT. You're so ignorant because you over here attack me for being a pansexual. No, girl, I'm educating you what the fuck a pansexual is. Girl, as a real pan, girl, you fucking on animals too. As a real pan, you're finding children attractive. And that's why they call themselves motherfucking pansexuals. Because they're gatekeepers, they're pizza lovers, and they're motherfucking animal lovers too. Bitch, don't play in my motherfucking face. Don't, and I mean that. Don't play in my face, honey. Don't play in my face, girl. And they throw out terms and I'm going to call myself a non-binary. I'm going to call myself a pansexual. And can we look that up too? Who coined the term non-binary? It says that non-binary identity was not invented by one person particular. It was recognized concept that exists throughout history across various cultures. While modern, see, we always got to culturally appropriate too. While modern terminology evolved from transgender activism, including contribution from figures like Leslie Finberg and Kate Bornstein in the 1990s, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and third genders have been documented for millennia. Okay, that's not what we're talking about, girl. Now y'all being cute, girl. Military men who identified as non-binary. You see how people they just change what is on Google? Okay, here we go. Jamie Shoup. Jamie Shoup was the first non-binary person in America, allegedly. Y'all, I'm giving y'all a history lesson while we're here. I'm giving y'all a history lesson on this. Because someone was saying that even transgenders are non-binaries. But if that is the case, you still have to start and end your transition, girl. You just cannot stay in limbo. So let's get into Jamie Shoup, honey. Alyssa Ray Shoup. Okay. Alyssa Ray Shoup was born August 10th, 1963. Formerly known as Jamie Shoup, was a soldier in the United States Army who in 2016 became the first person in the United States to obtain legal recognition of a non binary gender. Now, I don't know how that's really possible because I had a client in 2008 who I actually helped through fetish become feminine. It's called feminization. And that's what I think the non-binary movement is. There's no tea, there's no shade with it. As a femdom who's experienced since 2006, I participated in feminization fetishes, which means that I took straight identifying or straight masculine acting men who wanted to be transformed into a woman. And I got them started on their hormones and all this other good stuff for sexual kinks and fantasy. Although they looked female, they were still wanting to represent male by keeping their genitalia, keeping their beard and mustache, and even having a male name. But one of my clients in particular down there in San Diego actually went to DMV and got his ID marker changed to neutral. And I think I told y'all this story. And this is around 2008, 2009. So the N on the ID is non-binary, or are you guys giving this white man, aka white non-binary person, credit for this when the person who actually did it, the first person I knew did it, was a Hispanic man, a construction worker from San Diego, California. And I'm not going to out anybody's name. I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I also got the proof of him getting that ID switched over to neutral. Hello? On his gender marker. It didn't say male or female, it said neutral. This was 2008, 2009, baby. So let's get into it. So y'all giving him credit because this is a white man, or y'all giving him credit because this is uh um a military person? I don't know. Maybe he's a part of the co-op. I don't know. You know how they do. But in 2019, she released a statement. No, they're non-binary, so it's they. They released a statement explaining that they had returned to their male birth sex. So for 3 years, mind you, honey, let's pull this up right now. Let's pull this up, honey. Hold on. Because, I like to educate people. Ow! I like to educate. I like to exalt you and wake you up, honey. Because I need you to wake up into your higher self. I need you to tap in. I need you to tap in, honey. Let me pull this up. We need to tap in, honey. Hold on. What am I typing? Oh, here we go. Hold on. So, at 53 years old, this person decided to be considered a non-binary because they did not feel male nor female. And then 3 years after that, which is 56 years old, they decided to return back to their male birth sex, which of course, if they had their penis still, it never changed. No shade. We're calling it how it is. So 53, they decided to be identified as something totally different from what they identified as for 53 years. And I'm sure they were aware of this because they said that this has been used throughout history. And the first example of non-binary was really talked about in the 90s. So he could have came out, or they could have came out in the 90s and called themselves non-binary, but they did not. They choose to identify as a male that time because it was convenient for them, right? It was very convenient. How convenient, right? And of course, gender identity and stuff is not a convenience, baby. Hello. It is not a walk in the park. This is not for viral moments, honey. This is who you are, and you're willing to risk who you are to be who you are. Hello? You're willing to be at risk of being taken off this planet because this is you. Hello? Just like you being black, just like you being any other thing. You don't conveniently go from being white to black to whatever because it gives you a safe space. You're going to be black until the day you die. Okay, so the same thing with that. You do not conveniently switch genders because it's convenient for you. That is a game. That is some bullshit, honey, respectfully. Okay, and so either way, in 2022, this person was now 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, right? 60, like 60, 61. And I feel like my times are off, but y'all getting a point, huh? They were still up in age around this time. They decided in 2022 to publish a statement reclaiming their trans identity and condemning all anti-trans movement due to their story being used to push conversion therapy. Do you understand the battle of your gender? The battle of your identity is within yourself. Me being a woman, me battling for my right to be a woman is within myself. It's not external factors. Whether or not you see me as a woman, whether or not you treat me as a woman, it doesn't take that away from me. I choose not to deal with people like that. I can choose not to go around you respectfully. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to abuse you. I'm not going to disrespect you. And I'm not going to fight with you because you don't see the battle within. And that goes for anything and anyone. If you are feeling like you're this type of energy in the inside, but the outside world is not seeing that, we have therapy. We also have surgeries that you can do to become that passable thing. And even going into changing your voice or doing whatever. And of course, it's not about you changing who you are, but it's saying, I have to be okay with if my voice is deep and people hear a man that they call me sir. I got to be okay with that because I choose not to change my voice. I choose not to get surgery. You have to be okay with that. And so I think that is, anyway, outside of being personal, and so either way, y'all, they have a whole story about this person's life and how tumultuous and how fucked up, their life was, and not just what people have done to them, but what they've done with people. And so this is how this movement became so big, y'all, in 2016. And then in 2017, everybody started calling themselves that. And so either way, I'm like, you don't know what you are until someone give it a name. But if names and labels are not important, then why is it a trendy thing? Why is it trendy to be non-binary? Someone was said something about Tiffany Pollard is now a non-binary person. And I'm like, in a way, I kind of see it as demonic in a way, because I feel like if there was a non-binary energy, it would be God, right? And of course we are a part of God, but the people are claiming that they're non-binary. They're not claiming to be a part of God. They're not claiming to be God's warriors or God's companion or whatever. I'm not, they're not saying that. And so for me, I'm like, so now Tiffany Pollard is a non-binary? Respectfully, as this person flaunted around on reality TV and showed her motherfucking ass for a man, respectfully, as this motherfucking person has used and abused their body and their experiences with others, respectfully, allegedly, now it has been used up, abused up, and no longer wanted, it's a non-binary set. And that goes even to like the Trish Paytas and even the Demi Lovato's. How conveniently is that all these non-binaries are non-binary when it's convenient? How convenient is it that everybody's a non-binary person when it is convenient to be that? And then when it's not convenient anymore, or they realize that they're not getting the clout that they thought they were going to get, they're no longer non-binary. Because you even have like the Sam Smiths and shit. Comfortably, openly a gay man, comfortably and openly doing your thing as a femboy. And then all of a sudden you're non-binary because it becomes a trendy topic. And that's shit I be talking about. I don't fuck with trendy hoes. I don't fuck with trendy people. If this is who you are and people interview you, like I have always said when people ask me about me, I don't know. I really honestly couldn't tell you um what I feel. I could just say from what putting it together, a trans person, because of course I think what I represent goes beyond gender. I think it goes beyond male and female gender roles or gender norms. I do feel that, and that's what transgender or transsexual actually mean. You go above and beyond sexually different from what is a man and what is a woman. So to go on to the non-binary thing, I personally think, and I continue to say that it was a co-op thing to discredit the rights and the freedoms that transgender people were getting at the time. Because remember, people were actually checking on transgenders, and transgenders were getting certain rights, like being able to use the restroom, like being protected on the job, like getting their gender mark changed on their ID. And now, because the non-binary movement has it's come to the forefront, and things have been, ma'am, not sir, and you're giving somebody's dad, no shade, because you're not going to tell me what the fuck I'm not seeing, and I am seeing it. Now it's, let's get these men out the woman's restroom. They've always been in the bathroom, babe. And some of them are still using the bathroom, the woman's bathroom, and you're not going to stop it. Okay, hello. We're just talking about, just like it's illegal to sell drugs, and a lot of you still sell drugs. It's illegal for that, and they're still going to be doing it, babe. It is what it is. And so for me, the word pansexual, I'm not taking on new titles. I'm not taking on any type of title. Because, bitch, at my age, bitch, I know what the fuck I am. What are you? I like men and women. If you think that's bisexuality, you think it's bisexuality. I'm not about to fight with you about that. I know what I am. Same thing with that whole trend. Well, I'm pansexual. How sure are you of that, though? Because the Panascus, which is the bonobo primates, they be fucking on animals, or they be fucking on kids. They be fucking on baby primates and stuff. So for PG-13, the pansexual, whoever put pansexual on the map, let's not exclude the fact that pansexuals do it with animals. Let's not exclude that pansexual also do it with children, because that's nothing to y'all. The people that said they're pansexual, I'm going to bring up two people that I know personally. They have allegations of actually being predators. They have allegations of them being predators, and not to mention the allegations of them being predators, but they're very sexual when it comes to animals. Like her poom poom is hanging out so low. I guess she's been used and abused. Like, who's talking about an animal like that, girl? That's sick. Oh, that's some sick ass shit, girl. And girl, just a whole bunch of weird shit. One just like, oh, it's kind of giving pedophile enabler, girl. So you're pansexual because you're for that? Because the lead people are pansexuals too. Honey, they're pansexuals as well, but when it's a convenience, they're straight. Just like they be using Christianity as a convenience. Honey, when it sees fits, I'm gonna quote the Bible and let you know that God don't like your gay ass. But when it sees fit, I'm going to go get pregnant and I'm going to abort my baby. When it sees fits, I'm going to cuss the fuck out my kids too. And I'm not going to discipline my kids where they should be disciplined. Where it sees fit, I'm still going to eat shellfish. Hello? Where it sees fit, I'm going to go and I'm going to bully people. Because it's one thing about Christianity, bitch, you got to be meek and gentle. God did not say go up against anybody with aggression, because the battle is God's, not yours. So when you're looking at countries and places and people that are claiming to be Christian but are the aggressor, at the end of the day, you are not of God. You are not of God. And you shall be rebuked. Okay? And so that's how I'm leaving with that, girl. If we're going to call a spade a spade, let's call a spade a spade. Okay? Hello? Let's call a spade a spade, baby. Hello? If you're pansexual, just so you know, girl, I'm looking at you like you like babies and animals, girl. So I ain't trusting no animal, no kid around you, girl. No shade. Hello. Respectfully, girl. I don't give a fuck. Call me discriminator. I discriminate. Okay. Okay, girl. I'm looking at you sideways, girl, because you could just say, oh, what do you like? What do you like yourself? Because, girl, nobody want titles and shit. That's what y'all said, girl. Let's get rid of the labels, y'all. The labels are so unimportant. Let's get rid of the labels. Remember that non-label movement y'all were having? No labels, please. We don't need no labels. I like what I like. I love what I love. Okay. So let's get rid of the labels then. So what do you like? I like man and woman. Okay. Good. We see it for you, sis. No, I'm pansexual. I'm a non-binary pansexual hermaphrodite. Like, oh, okay. Wow. Yikes. Okay, babe. Okay, well, God bless you. You worked that out. You know what, girl? Fuck the dumb shit. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, honey. Let's get into this a little lightly and I'm gonna be done for real, for real. It says I hear that Alyssa Ray Schuper was assigned by mail at birth, was born August of 1963 in Washington, D.C., and grew up in Southern Maryland with 7 other siblings. She was sexually abused by relatives when she was in elementary school, and her mother physically abused her for behaving like a sissy as a young teen. So this whole confusion about what they want to identify as male or female, and it's okay to be either or, is due to sexual trauma, as I said before. And so either way, Shoot scored unusually high on armed services, vocational aptitude battery, and entered the armed forces after graduating from high school. Um, um, okay. And military services says that she began to serve in the U.S. Army before the enactment of Don't Ask, Don't Tell during her 18 years of service. She was prevented from exploring her gender identity or sexual orientation and was often the target of homophobic comments. Was it homophobic or was it transphobic? I'm confused. See, that's where the confusion go. A non-binary individual who then identified as transsexual, who then allegedly had homophobic comments said to them, retired in 2000 as a sergeant, first class, a number of military decorations. Um, and of course we can't take away their military services. But it says right here, towards the end of her military services. Oh, here we go. This is interesting. Oh God, let's get into it. Whoa. Toward the end of her military services, Shoop's gender dysphoria began intensifying. Whoa. So it was not intensified as a child. It was not intensified as a teenager. It was not intensified throughout the whole 18 years of services, but towards the end of the military career, it became very intensified. And she started experimenting with wearing women's clothing at home. After retiring, she moved to Pittsburgh with her wife and began living as a trans woman in 2013. So she retired in 2000. So it took her 13 years after her retirement, which was 18 years of initially feeling like a trans person. So 18 plus 13, we're already getting into like 30 something years. It took them 13 years after retiring to actually start living, even though the gender dysphoria intensified. Now, I do want to get into what gender dysphoria is. Gender dysphoria, also known as GD, is a distress, and distress meaning like a complete just like, oh my God, I cannot do this. Okay, I cannot function. Oh my God, this is just driving me nuts. Like it even pushed you to the point of having like extreme anxiety, extreme depression, intense, just uncomfortability. Distress a person experiences due to inconsistency between their gender identity or gender connection, their personal sense of their own gender, and their sex assigned at birth. So it says a distress that a person feels due to inconsistency between their gender identity, and that's how you feel, versus how you were born. So you were born a male anatomically, but you feel like you're female, you have gender dysphoria, and when it becomes intensified, you want to get rid of all things that represent your male identity. You want to get rid of all things that intensifies or make you feel like a male. That includes the name, that includes the body, that may even include the voice, that may even include all that, right? But you want to get rid of that. And so it says right here that the term replaced the previous diagnostic label of gender identity disorder. And of course, they removed the gender identity disorder because they're saying that there's not a disorder, right? That there's nothing going on in that sense. And it said they removed it in 2013. And that's actually crazy that they released this in 2013 when Mrs. Shoopy or Shoop, Jamie Shoop, decided to live as a trans woman. You see where the co-op shit comes in at, where I keep telling people that I feel like a lot of terms and stuff that they put out there are definitely government influences and government experimentations. Because this person not only rated very high on the aptitude armed services vocational aptitude battery, but just so happened while they were in this training, just like they do with all people allegedly, they were running tests and stuff and experimentation on this person's mental, physical, and emotional bodies. And of course, when they got up out of here, which of course, they're saying that it intensified towards the end of their career, that she chose to identify as a trans woman in 2013, which is also the time they moved gender identity disorder out of the DSM books. Hello. Okay, the books of psychiatry, medical diagnosis and stuff. If you don't know about it, get you one. You can get one for like $30 or $40, by the way. And so it said that she chose a gender neutral first name as Jamie and convinced the army to change her sex marker to female on military records. But why does that matter? You're already out of the military. You've already, went above and beyond. And let's just say this, you could feel how you feel, but for legal purposes, right? Because of course, if you were like this passable femtile, I was just gonna point out, if you're this passable femtile and they ask for your birth certificate and you pull out this birth certificate and let's say I want to work for a Catholic business or a Christian business or let's say even the Muslim temple's hiring and I want to work for them. They said, well, we need your birth certificate so we can hire you. And I don't want them to discriminate against it because I'm transgender and I'm a passable one at that. I'm going to bring the birth certificate to match that I was born female because, of course, it's for my protection. As a non-passing, non-conforming, person who lived their life as a male for like 50 or 34 fucking 50 years, and it's on record that you're a male, DMV have on record that you've been a male for all these years. I mean, no tea, no shade. I don't think military records of saying you were a female is even gonna matter. A lot of us, girl, we fought to get that shit done at 18 years old. A lot of us, we got our name changed or gender changed at like 16, 17, and 18, before we even had a record as a fucking adult. So I think like stuff like that matters. And then we fought to get our birth certificate to change over because it's like, girl, I never lived my life as a male, as an adult. You know what I mean? But 40, 50 years as a man, and now you want to say female, girl, that's a little too much. That's a little too, like, girl, you want to fight. That's what it's giving, girl. You want to fight, Miss Thing. Hello? And so either way, it says in June of 2016, Shoup successfully petitioned the Multnomah County in Oregon to change her sex destination to non-binary in the first name recognition of non-binary gender in the United States. But I thought the gender dysphoria intensified. Because gender dysphoria is having a distress of what you feel like in the inside to what you're born anatomically. So as a gender dysphoric person, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing a male. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to change that about what I feel and see. And on the flip side to that, I'm going to also do everything in my power to change that. That means if I have a beard, I'm going to get rid of my beard. If that means, and like I said, this is not for other people. This is for me because I have gender dysphoria. So just a lot of confusion going on here, girl. I'm confused. Even as a transgender person, I'm just so confused about what's going on in this whole scenario, this whole story. And that November, she was issued a birth certificate in Washington, D.C. with a sex marker of unknown. Lambda Legal later cited Shoup's petition as a legal precedent for non-binary gender markers in the passport lawsuit ZZYM, which is ZIM, versus Pompeo, San Diego gay and lesbian news argued that her case was a significant victory for the trans community. Is it? Is it? Because as a trans person, girl, and see, that's how we said I don't be feeling connected to the trans community. Because as a trans woman, I'm trying to blend in with society. Okay, no shade. Hello. I want to go through my life being as normal as possible, girl. Whatever that means. Girl, I'm not, listen, no shade. Honey, because this document that you went to court, girl, you're never going to be seen with this type of public notoriety as the woman or the person that you think you are. You're never going to be seen as that, babe. And you have to be okay with that. So it's like, are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for the notoriety? Are you doing it for the fame? Are you doing it to be the first person to make history? And then also goes into who told you, who gave you the idea to do this? Because this is what it's given. It's really given that someone told them, you should, if you want to be a trans person, because I feel like we all got this, y'all, as a trans person that have non-trans people in your life, they'll tell you, as a trans person, you should do this, and maybe you'll be the first trans person to blank, blah, blah, blah. So who gave Alyssa the idea that this was going to be a good thing for them? Because this was not their own idea. This is not their own idea to petition the courts. This is not their own idea to transition to be a female or a trans woman. This is not. I'm willing to bet top dollar on that. And it could partially stem from the sexual violations that they had growing up. As I mentioned before, a lot of people who identify as pansexual and non-binary do have sexual trauma. That could be a proven fact. And so either way, it is what it is. And it says in 2018, Shoup critiqued gender affirming surgery, cautioning against what she said was high complicated rates. But who cares? If you don't want to have gender affirming surgery, why are you out here trying to protest against people who want to have it or have had it, bitch? See, that's what I was saying, girl. Girl, shut the fuck up, respectfully. Shut the fuck up. She also expressed opposition to transgender people serving in the military. Well, I say the same thing too, girl. Because you can't have gender dysphoria and want to be in the damn military. Yes, we have females. Yes, we do have females in the military. People are going to say there's some females there. But we're talking about somebody being born anatomically male. You want to stay far away from that. That goes even to gender dysphoric people playing football or shit as a male. Honey, girl, if you played a football, if you were a football player as a male, and girl, you talk about you had gender dysphoria, girl, you a motherfucking lie. Girl, you ain't got no motherfucking gender dysphoria, girl. Girl, you just a punk that's competing with women, girl. And there's no shade with that, girl. You are just a punk that's compete with women, girl. Ain't no way, girl. Girl, listen. Even as a male model, y'all, I was looking at my male model pictures. If you don't know, now you know. Okay, as a male, I was a teenage, mid to not early, but we're gonna say yeah, like beginning of teenage to mid teenage. I was a model, honey. Yes, okay. And so I was looking at my modeling pictures, y'all, because I have an album with these pictures in it. By the way, hello. Will the public get to have a look at it? Who knows? I almost shared one of my pictures. But who knows? Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Who cares? Hello. People say they know my name. Hello. People say they know my name, girl. Pull those pictures up, girl. Because it's documented. You can find it on Google. You can find my modeling pictures in one of the interviews I did. Hello. You can find my modeling pictures in one of the interviews I did as a teenager. I was 16 years old when I interviewed with someone. You can find it. Hello. You can find it if you really know my name. Hello. Hello. If you really know it, you can find it, girl. If you really know my dad name, you can find that picture then. Hello. Pull the picture up. Someone got to show it. Anyway, but when I was looking through those albums, and I was like, I see somebody who was at peace, but I don't see somebody who was completely happy. Like I saw somebody in that moment who was like, "Girl, I'm having a photo shoot, and they're about to write me a check for 10K. Girl, I'm doing a photo shoot. They're about to give me 2,500. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing in these pictures. But I am not seeing somebody saying, "Girl, I like these boy clothing. I love what this male clothing feel like on me." So I'd be like, girl, somebody who's gender dysphoric, somebody who do not feel attached to anything they're born anatomically. It's like, girl, there's people out here that play football. You got some of your favorite celebrities out here, trans celebrities, girl, to play football. They play soccer. Some of them, girl, got sponsorships, girl, to go to college as a fucking football player. Girl, you look at their male high school pictures, girl, they're just cheesing. Girl, you ever see my male high school picture, girl? If I took some, cause some years I didn't go to school for picture day because I didn't want to be seen as a motherfucking man, baby. Can we talk about it? But you got some of these motherfucking hoes talk about something. I didn't know what transgenderism was. I didn't either. But I still don't want to be seen as a fucking man, bitch. Because I didn't feel like a motherfucking man. So I did, girl, you want to go see me in a boy picture. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Girl, girl, and one of the girls, I'm not even cutting in, she didn't even look like a sissy in the picture. So I was like, what type of sexual traumas does he had? You know, in the picture, what type of sexual trauma did he have? Because, girl, he did not look like he had any type of dysphoria, any type of connection with looking like a nigga. Girl, he even had a lineup, a fade, a flat top with a fade with a lineup, girl. No shade, girl. No shade, bitch. No shade, girl. I'm like, I think for 1 year, maybe 2 years, and this was probably like the 5th grade to the 6th grade. I had a fade with a lineup, bitch. You better stop, girl. But I had a ducktail, and girl, I used to fling that ducktail, bitch. Hello? You better ask somebody about me, bitch. Okay? You're not gonna find no boy picture of me as a kid, no boy picture of me with family, and I'm just Rue, what's up, nigga? No, girl. I'm gonna be sazzing and jazzing and flipping my hand up, girl. All that, girl. Hello? Girl, we can show those pictures, honey. Girl, going into shorts and t-shirts, and I made sure my shirts was tight as fuck. And my shorts was tight as fuck, because it made me feel comfortable. When it was loose pants or loose clothes, I felt discombobulated, honey. Hello. And I would fight with my older brother about it. But like I said, these other hoes, that be, oh, girl, and, well, she look more prettier and passable than you. Well, girl, the battle is not hers, says the Lord, girl, because she's going to try to look passable because it is a storyline. It is a viral, trendy thing to be a passable, yet masculine acting tranny. We know that. We know that, girl. We know that. Girl, in the 90s and the early 2000s, and this is no cut into anybody, you met a lot of trans women. They looked fishy and sound fishy, or some of them look bricky, but they still sound fishy. In 2020, 15 and beyond, you find a lot of trans women that look passable through surgeries, but they would still sound like a man. And to them, that, you know, that's cute, that's sexy, and that's kind. And it's like, well, it is what it is. But it's like, for you, that, like, where is your comfortability and where is your gender dysphoria at? Where's your level of gender dysphoria at? Because it's your battle, not other people's battle. So it's not so I don't feel like I have to, you know, do this for other people. But it's like, so what do you feel like, though? Because unless you don't have gender dysphoria like that, like I said, for me, that would make me feel odd. Like, even when I dress in certain clothing, I don't like to have a revealing body because I don't feel comfortable with my body. And I have therapy. I see therapy, you know, but this is an ongoing thing. Gender dysphoria is something that is not healed. You manage it, but you're not healed from that. Hormones do not heal gender dysphoria. Therapy does not heal gender dysphoria. Wearing women's clothes does not heal gender dysphoria. It's a management skill. But this whole idea that you're gender dysphoric, but yet you're okay with having male qualities or identifying as a male in some way, shape, or form, somehow, some way, girl, that is not gender dysphoria. And if it took for you to get older for that to be intensified, then that's going into you're not gender dysphoric. You are sexually confused. And that is also okay. We're never shaming and condemning anybody that's just in a state of confusion. But this is why you go to therapy and you learn about yourself to see what it is that you really ain't. Because even going into like Demi Lovato and these other people who allege that they're non-binary, some of them could have really been non-binary, but as they explored their ideas of who they were like, no, yes, I do have male energy. Yes, I do identify as male sometimes, but overall, I am female. And even going into gender dysphoria and gender identity crisis, a lot of people, especially people of the LGBT community, have these feelings. To a degree, we're all on the gender spectrum. Heterosexual people are too. You can identify as being heterosexual, being this and that, but you're going to have some gay traits to you as a straight man or a straight woman. And there's no shade with that because that's just who we are. It's a part of our spectrum as a human. But what makes your identity you is what outweighs the other. Do you mostly feel like male or female? Do you mostly feel like the heterosexual? Do you mostly feel like the whatever? And that's what dictates it. And if you choose not to identify and be a part of the social pool, then you could step back and not be a part of it. But to be a part of the social pool, you have to pick and choose what it is that you are and what it is that you ain't. Like I said, I know I am. I'm comfortable being who I am. But for social norm or social socialization, girl, I am female. I'm female, honey. If I introduce myself to you as whatever and we're talking about life, I would hate for the topic to go from us talking about life to now you asking me if I like to suck dick because you know that I'm trans and or, well, what is it like being a transgender? Hey, are you trans? And now we're talking about religion. Well, you know, God doesn't really condone that. And you are an abomination to God. You see what I mean? So it's like for me, I don't want you to see what you think you're like, whatever you're perceiving me as, and I think I do a good job as being presenting or being seen as a female. That's what I want to keep it on. It is not for me about being ashamed about who I am for anybody. It's about me, once again, have respect for myself and know who the fuck and what the fuck I am, but keeping the conversation about just what it is. I don't want it to go left. I don't need it to go right. Just like I don't want you to talk about your STD, your STI status, and you don't know me. I don't want you to come out and say, hey, my name is Billy Bob Joe, and I'm HIV positive. You don't have to do all that when we're talking. We're just communicating. We're talking in passing. So for me, that's me, right? And that's my comfortability. And that's my therapy for my gender dysphoria. But like I said, if you have gender dysphoria, you're going to do everything you can to present as the gender that you're feeling. If you're unsure about the gender that you're feeling, and because the doctors came out or psychologists came out or organization came out and said, well, it's because you're non-binary, you're like, yep, that's what it is. Then girl, once again, keep that shit to yourself. You cannot fight. I said this before and I'm going to say this again. Something happened a couple of years ago because, girl, I'm not all the way passable. You know, I'm not delusional. I said I was going to go. Yeah, I'm really going to go after this, girl. For real. I promise you I'm going to go. I really got to go. And when I start coming live too, we do our weekly things and I get on camera stuff, y'all, I'm going to like try to have like I said, it's going to be sections. And then if I want to come back later for another section to stay on the same topic, that's what we'll do. I won't talk about when I'm actually doing a show with y'all a lot, you know, a lot of stuff. We'll keep it on one conversation. And so either on one topic, let me say this. I have had my moments where I was, you know, clocked or spooked. And let's say this, you know, I have wore scrubs, and some scrubs are not as flattering. So, you know, scrubs can make you look like you are, built like a brick, built like a bag of potatoes, sack of potatoes. You know, you don't really see curves in scrubs because, of course, you're not supposed to be sexy. Now they got sexy scrubs and stuff, but you're not supposed to be sexy in your scrubs, baby. You know, having patients wanting to fuck on your shit and coworkers and shit. Doctors and medical professionals are not supposed to be sleeping with their patients or even their coworkers, by the way. You're not supposed to have any type of sexual interaction with fellow coworkers and or patients, right? And so anyway, getting off of that. I was clocked, and a man made it be known, and it was a drunk man, and this was probably maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And he literally said, thank you, sir. I was in the grocery store and I'm in line and the guy said, can I take him? And of course, y'all, we're going to play the devil advocate because somebody said, well, he was saying, sir, to the cashier. I don't give a fuck, girl. I took it at that moment that he called me sir. And I'm going to keep it like that because that could be my own genders for it. That could be me fighting with myself. I don't know. But I heard, thank you, sir. And I took it that he was saying, thank you, sir, because I let him go before me. So he was like, thank you, sir. And then he got in front of me. And y'all, I gagged. I was like, bitch, you don't see these big ass titties? You see this soft ass face, bitch. And I caught myself because I was gonna say it's ma'am, not sir. And girl, I caught myself mid mid conversation. I caught myself, and I said, "Girl, he called you sir. What the fuck? What does that mean? You don't know him. This man is a drunk man. He's a drunkard for one. Why does it matter to you?" And I let it go. But I could have called the city and said, it's ma'am, not sir. And of course, girl, it would have been a probably more viral moment because, girl, just like I told y'all about the hotel, girl, I went to a hotel with this bricky ass 6'4" transgender with a size 16 shoe who nowadays is still doing all these surgeries to look like a woman, but the bitch is still 6'4", built like a brolic ass football player with some size 16 shoe. No shade, okay? And so either way, and I have a monotone voice. We go to this hotel, y'all, and they clock her tea because this bitch had on sandals, and you see these big ass Fred Flintstone ass feet in these sandals. And so it was two Arabic and one Filipino security guard, and I know I'm gonna tell you how I know very shortly. And so anyway, so the lady was checking us in was a black lady, and of course they say black people be knowing things, and so we check ourselves in, and while we're walking to our room, she said, "Girl, they clocked our tea." And I said, "What? What do you mean?" And he said, well, they said, "Yeah." They were talking about how they knew we were men. They were talking about how big our hands and feet were. And so I said, "Wait, what? Wait, hold that." And so, me being the person I'm, girl, I went to the front desk and I checked. And I said, "Excuse me. I don't know what's going on here, but my friend just said that your security guard was like calling us men and shit, blah, blah, blah. I'm a woman." And she was like, "I know you're a woman, but wait, what's going on? I'm so confused." I said, "Yeah." She said that they called us men, and I'm not a motherfucking man. I'm a woman, and blah blah blah. And she's like, "Wait, what do you mean they said?" Like, girl, this lady was so confused, y'all. And she was like, "I'm gonna give you a moment, and you come back and talk." Because I was getting upset, y'all. Because I was like, "Oh my god!" But coming to find out, girl, the security guard ended up telling me, girl, because I was on this app called Meet Me. The security guard messaged and was like, "Listen," and he was sexy too, by the way. He was like, "Listen, I kid you not, we were talking about your friend, because that motherfucker is big as fuck." And of course, the bitch tried to get him fired, the bitch, because I did tell the person, because we were friends. So I did tell them, "Hey, girl, the security guard, said that, no, they were talking about you, because you're big as fuck, blah, 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 blah." And of course, they tried to get us kicked out the hotel, tried to get him fired from the hotel, because of course, she recorded me saying that, but the manager was like, "But yeah, your friend just said that." I was like, "Oh, you nasty ass, trifling ass bitch." And so either way, y'all, um, that moment right there, I get because I'm like, girl, I basically outed myself because this bitch was like, "I kid you not, I had no idea what was going on." Even talking to the black lady who worked at this hotel desk, honey, she even said it, and I almost said her name too. In Sacramento, girl, she's in Sacramento, girl, but she's all like, "Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I was barely understanding what you were saying, but it was something about someone being a man, somebody being a woman." And I was like, "Yeah, because, my friend is transgender." I played that role. I was like, "Yeah, my friend is transgender." And they were like, kind of like coming for her and making her feel some type of way. And, I have respect for the community and blah, blah, blah. And she said, "Yeah, because they were saying that you were saying that you're a man." And I was like, "No, honey, this is all woman, honey." And I was like, "Ooh, girl, yeah, that's my time to go." Because I was like, "Girl, now I feel like she about to clock my 10 and be like, wait, are you a woman? Are you a man? What's going on here?" But anyway, so yeah, so it confused her, it confused me. And then, like I said, of course, the bitch tried to get them fired. So, of course, she had to ask me for a statement. And I'm like, "Well, I did tell, her that they were talking about her, and your security guard did say that, unfortunately, because I was going to deny it, but she recorded it." And I said, "You ain't got to worry about it. I won't come back." And of course, I did not go back there, girl, because I was humiliated. I was embarrassed. And so I thought about that, girl, about being who you are, honey, and the battles within you and not them. So, girl, even if they do clock a tea, who give a fuck, girl? What tea are you trying to preserve, girl? "Oh, she look like fish and she good." Girl, what? In 2026, girl, let you check me for being transgender, girl. I got pieces of steel and some hot pepper spray, bitch. What you gonna do? "Oh, that's a whatever." Yeah, say it over there, girl, because I can say it too. "Oh, that's the whatever too." Bitch, what? That's a man. Oh, that's a ratchet ass hoe. Or that's a bastard. Yeah, but we can say it too. You think that hurts me? I think me calling you a bastard gonna hurt you worse than it's gonna hurt you calling me a man. No shade, honey. Hello? Fuck out of here. Anyway, y'all, let me go. Mondo the shoes. Manolo. Bonobos, yes. Bonobos, yeah. A matriarchal society. Yeah, bonobos, honey. She's the difference as cells. So the dinosaurs, the Nephilims, or whatever they were, seeded both animals. You said it. Corporations are sacrificing these animals, whatever entities they prove to these farms and the meat industries. Right. You said it. And when it comes into hot dog stuff, that's why I don't consume hot dogs and all that because I know hot dogs are the leftover scraps of everything and they put it all together unless you get like a beef only hot dog or turkey only hot dog. But even then, they're using like turkey feet, turkey ass, turkey ovaries, turkey this, turkey that. And it's like, girl, listen, I love turkey breasts, but girl, and chicken breasts and all that, but girl, no shade, girl. I don't want to think about eating a chicken's asshole. I don't want to think about eating a chicken's ovaries, the chicken's uterus, respectfully, girl. A brain of a chicken, like I don't think about that, girl. So, like I said, girl, y'all do y'all thing. I'm gonna do my thing, and thank y'all for stopping by here, honey. I really do appreciate it. Hather Two Skies, um, and everyone who was listening, honey. And God bless y'all, honey. I will be back, girl. Like I said, tonight we're doing a video. I don't know if I'm gonna get on. We're gonna be here. I don't know if it's gonna be an audio only reading or if it's gonna be on camera. More than like I'm gonna push to be on camera because I think I'll be good. I want to like really, be presentable for y'all. And then like I say, try out my new tea with y'all too. Can I try out my new desk? Who's my new vanity girl? Who's doing? Either way, y'all, we're gonna try out the new vanity with y'all. Either way, either y'all gonna see me and we're gonna be using the vanity as a thing holding everything up, or the cards are gonna be on the vanity and the camera's gonna be facing towards that. We're gonna see, honey. Okay, okay, girl. Because I'm about time management, girl. And I'm gonna be like, girl, listen, girl. Okay, around this time I might be eating. Around this time I might be getting ready to eat. Who knows? Who knows, girl? So we will be back later. We will be doing a presentation for you all, and a reading tapping in. And I love and respect, my people, and you all, honey. So we'll be back, y'all. Love and light. I wonder if I talk like this, are y'all able to hear me? If I talk this slow, am I audible? Can you hear what I'm saying this stuff? So I feel like I be shouting and shit sometimes, honey, and screaming and hollering and yelling, girl. You know what I mean? Can you hear me? Half of two skies, you and me. Half are 82 skies. You born in 1982? You born in 1982, half? Look at my baby. You know what I noticed, baby? You don't curl your tail up no more. You used to have this tail so curly. Does it hurt you to curl your tail up? Oh. Does it hurt you because you're getting older? Does it hurt you to curl that tail up? Does it hurt you to curl your tail up, honey? Because you're an old man. You're old man. You're old man. You're old man. You're old. Anyway, let me go, y'all. Love you like love you.